One of the things that's conspicuously absent from the dialogue is foreign policy. And I believe it's not talked about in the many political forums and debates that I have participated in, is because the other challengers do not have the same command of these issues that I do. We need to understand that the flagship of El Paso's economy is Fort Bliss and the United States military. However, again, conspicuously absent from these debates are discussions on those topics. Because of my 21 years of active federal service, being a war planner and a field grade officer planning or assisting in the planning of the first Gulf War and the successful prosecution of an offensive strategy there, I bring experiences to the table that no one else in this race can, because they don't have the experience, they don't have the tenor, and will not see war again in their lifetimes. If you would please, come with me to the map. Let's look at some of the places that we should be talking about, but the other candidates are not. I want to use this opportunity to draw another broad, bright line between me and the other candidates in this race. Mr. O'Rourke, to my knowledge, has zero military or foreign policy experience. Congressman Reyes, I believe, served 3 years during the Vietnam era. My time in service as an Army officer totals 21 years. That's 7 times more than the congressman and 100 times more than Mr. O'Rourke. Neither Mr. Reyes or Mr. O'Rourke are talking about what is on the horizon militarily for us here in El Paso and Fort Bliss. And what you're looking at are a number of the trouble spots where our soldiers are or will face combat deployments, given the direction of our State Department and the Chief Executive. Congress is bigger than bike lanes, bridge fees, and wait times. And we need a person in Congress who realizes the importance of knowing world affairs. Your next congressman needs to know the political cost and the political consequences of another large-scale military deployment and a shrinking end strength. I know soldiers. Too many in Congress are too quick to push the send button without measuring the monetary or mental cost of deployment. Yet, we take a look at the countries that the United States will put or have soldiers right now. Let's take a look at Uganda right now. With the kinds of things that are taking place in that country, we have put special forces, special operations missions type soldiers there as a means and a method to begin to train persons to go against an opposing force in Central Africa. Though many of those soldiers were deployed right out of Fort Bliss. If we go north to Libya, after going in with what we called a humanitarian mission, I never had a humanitarian mission that began with 100 Tomahawk or cruise missiles as part of the process. We sailed across an ocean to go into Libya with support services, but would not go across a river to deal with the 45,000 people that have been killed as a result of the Mexican drug war. Let's take a look at Iraq. We have downsized our military force there, but upsized the size of the State Department forces there. But they represent a tripwire, because if they are harmed in any capacity, we can expect a return of boots on the ground and rifles at the ready. Afghanistan, we are in a mode of standing down. However, when you take a look at the circumstance, such as burning the Quran and the backlash that we have faced as a result of that, you must ask yourself the question: are we pursuing the right policy, or is the right course of action being pursued in Afghanistan, given the way our forces have been treated and our forces have been received there? If you take a look at Syria, we have seen hostile actions taking place against the civilian population there, against a well-organized military. John McCain is already talking about airstrikes against the conventional forces in Syria. And if you go across and look at the country of Iran, we already have saber-rattling conversations about offensive operations in Iran should they continue to press for nuclear weapons and find a way to put their finger on the nuclear trigger. You need a person in Congress who can speak to and understand the dynamics of warfare, how it impacts the mind, and how it impacts the money that we have to spend on offensive operations in that part of the world. Send me to Congress, and you'll have a person who understands those dynamics. Thank you very much for your time and attention.